Funding for this program is provided by the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, a catalyst for change. Corporate underwriting is provided by General Motors and its Chevrolet, Pontiac, Oldsmobile, Buick, Cadillac, GMC Truck Divisions, and GMAC. General Motors, committed to excellence.
Hello, I'm Gunther and welcome to our Christmas Journeys Around the World. Christmas, a special time of joy and giving, is celebrated differently in most nations. Together, we will see how the Austrian, German, Swedish, French, Filipino, and American people celebrate their holidays. Caroling, feasts, festivals, religious processions, warmth and good cheer. The Christmas season in Austria is a very special time of year, lasting from early December until after New Year's Day. To tell us some of the unique Christmas celebrations of her homeland is my very special guest, Ruth Meyerhofer-Grünbühl, from the beautiful town of Innsbruck. Ruth, welcome to our Christmas program.
Hello,
and I love Innsbruck. I've been there so many times. I'm sure you must love it too. You're from there.
I love it, yes. It's a beautiful town. It's the capital of Tyrol, and it's had 2 Olympic Games.
That's right.
And lots of mountains, and beautiful.
You know, in Austria, Ruth, you celebrate Christmas completely different than we celebrate it in America. Would you agree with that?
Yes, yeah.
What do you do differently?
First of all, the Christmas spirit starts much earlier. And there are Christmas trees everywhere, and we hear Christmas carols. And it's a much more family-centered feast than it is here. Much less hectic, maybe.
I think the scenery has a lot to do with it too, the beautiful mountains, the beautiful forest. It's a Christmas scenery, all of Austria.
Yes.
Now, folk chorales are traditionally Austrian. And you hear these chorals all over the towns and villages. And you brought one of these chorals here to our stage today.
Yes. I brought the Feldner Doppelsextet with us. They're from Kärnten. And Kärnten is the southernmost state of Austria. And it's a beautiful state with lots of lakes and mountains and lots of sunshine too. And they're all school teachers, they're high school teachers. And now they're going to sing a song about decorating the Christmas tree.
Let's listen to it, Ruth. Isn't it beautiful how the thing was? No, they're saying about decorating trees. And I understand that in Austria, the trees are decorated secretly by the parents on Christmas Eve. Is this right?
Yes, that's right. The children are sent to bed, and in the meantime, the parents decorate the tree with silver pine cones
Oh, that's beautiful.
and or nuts.
It looks like a walnut. It is.
Walnuts, yes,
Yes.
silver walnuts or straw flowers. And then, of course, we have real candles and sparklers on the trees.
Yes,
We never
that is
have
beautiful.
electric.
I have been 3 times on Christmas Eve
Yes.
in Austria. Now, your Santa Claus, or St. Nicholas, comes earlier than he comes in America, doesn't he?
Yes, our Nicolo, which would be St.
Yes.
Nicholas, comes on the 6th of December. And he comes in the evening and he brings a big sack with him with fruit and nuts and prunes in it. And he has he's disguised as a bishop. And he comes along with a little imp. The little imp whips or scolds the naughty children while he praises the good children. And in this way, the children get prepared for Christmas because they're very good in the last 3-4 weeks.
That sounds like a good system. Now, here we have a typical Austrian Advent wreath. It has 4 candles. Is that with every Advent wreath?
Yes, each family has one of these Advent wreaths in their house, and it has usually a very special place either on the dining room or in the living room. And the first candle is lit 4 weeks before Christmas, and the last candle on the last Sunday before Christmas. And it's a time of fasts and it's a very quiet time. There are no feasts and no dancing and no marriages in the
Yes.
country.
Now, Ruth, the presents are presented by the Christ child in
Yes.
Austria
Yeah.
on Christmas night.
Yes, that's right. When the children hear the bell, they come out and see the Christmas tree for the very first time.
Yes.
And underneath the Christmas tree is a nativity set. And on the table next to the tree, there are all the presents. And then the father reads the gospel, Christmas Eve gospel. And then they sing 3 or 4 songs, and then they dash to their presents.
Yes. Let us visit the village in Austria where the carol Silent Night was first sung.
Austrian youngsters dress up as the 3 kings and wander through the countryside to announce the birth of Christ. These 3 are underway to the places remembered in connection with Franz Xaver Gruber and Joseph Mohr, the author and composer of the Christmas carol, Silent Night. From the bell tower at which they are looking, the Carol of Carols is heard 3 times a day during the Christmas season.
Dort ist die Steingasse. Mit dem Joseph Mohr Haus.
This is the Steingasse, with the house in which Joseph Mohr, the poet of Silent Night,
In
spent
diesem
his
Hause
childhood.
verbrachte Joseph Mohr, der Dichter des Liedes Stille Nacht, Heilige Nacht, seine Kinderjahre.
Und Oberndorf kann man
But
nicht
where
sehen.
is Oberndorf, where Silent Night was sung for the first time?
Rira, rutsch, wir fahren in der Kutsch. Jetzt spielt noch ein wenig, Kinder, dann gehen wir zur Stille Nacht.
And then,
Kapelle
children,
nach Oberndorf.
we'll go to the Silent Night
Früher
Chapel
war dort,
in
wo
Oberndorf.
jetzt die Kapelle steht, eine
Where the
Kirche.
chapel now stands,
Nikolaus
there used to be a
hier
church called St.
war
Nicholas's.
in der Christnacht im Jahre
And it was there,
1880,
on Christmas Eve, 1818, 150 years ago,
damals
that
wurde
Silent
die
Night,
Stille Nacht,
Holy Night,
Heilige
was
Nacht
sung for the first
ersten
time.
Male gesungen. Als ich noch so klein war, hat uns die Großmutter, Gott hab sie selig, erzählt, dass die
The story
Orgel
goes
in der Kirche
that the organ in the church in
gerade
Oberndorf
damals
was broken
zur
down at
Weihnachtszeit
Christmas that
kaputt
year.
war. Deshalb
And
hatte
so,
die junge
the young
Hilfe
assistant priest named Joseph Mohr wrote a Christmas poem and took it to his friend, Franz Gruber, the schoolmaster in nearby Arnsdorf, to have him write music to it.
Am selben Tag noch hat der
Gruber wrote the music that same day,
In der Nacht
and
haben sie
the two of them
voneinander in
sang the carol at St. Nicholas's Church that night.
Der Priester hat dazu die Gitarre
The
gespielt.
priest played the guitar.
Und jetzt ist das Lied auf der ganzen Welt bekannt.
And now the whole world sings the song called Silent Night, Holy Night.
This catchy number is a typical Christmas song of the Philippines. The longest Christmas in the world happens here in the Philippines. The joys of the holiday start at the beginning of December and continue into January. As in America, they start with Christmas trees. Once pine trees were brought from the mountains, but this was stopped to conserve the natural resources. Now, Christmas trees are created from all kinds of native materials, whatever the imagination can devise. Some are made entirely from lights. Some trees are made from plain branches. They are stripped and then cut to size. They are nailed together for a perfect Christmas tree shape, painted white, and then are ready to be sold. Paroles are a unique Filipino Christmas decoration. These lanterns of different sizes and shapes hang in every house and on every street and offer a Christmas time beacon of warmth and welcome across the entire Philippines. Paroles are made by hand and by families working together. They use colored paper and cellophane, wire and bamboo. The neighbors come to help, and everyone in the group makes an artistic contribution. Then the paroles are displayed and sold at colorful stands that line the roads. Paroles represent the star that hung in the sky over the manger where the Christ child was born. And of course, there's Christmas shopping. In the north and in the south, throughout the 7,000 islands of the Philippines, everyone's looking for just the right gift for their special someone. A new dress for a niece, or toys for the kids. The stores and the shops are packed. Shoppers take time to enjoy the elaborate Christmas displays that decorate the shops. The specific rituals of Christmas time actually start in mid-December, at dawn of December 16th, when church bells break the silence of the cold morning air. It's the beginning of the novenas called Missa di Gallo, the Mass of the Rooster. For 9 consecutive mornings, starting at 4:30, when the rooster welcomes the dawn, the faithful gather inside churches that are brightly lit with candles and lanterns. The churchgoers join in the Mass by singing. This celebration is unique to the Philippines and is a major reason why Christmas here brings everyone so close together.
Asno, yung asno. Nakakilala ng asno ang kanyang sabsaban. Subalit ang kami tanggapin mo, hindi ako nakikilala ng akanumayan sa kabila ng aming mga pagkukulang karutukan.
As part of the service in this crowded community church, Father Bilyote prayed for world peace and the brotherhood of mankind.
Na tumanggap din sa aming
The Eucharist was given, and then everyone started singing Happy Birthday for the baby Jesus. The Mass finished, the churchgoers stop at outdoor stands. Here, babinka and puto bonbon, ginger tea and Christmas specialties are served for these 9 days. For this Christmas, there was a special treat. Santa Claus arrived at the airport in a brand new 747. The Filipino generosity is even greater at Christmas. Just the day before Christmas, hundreds of gifts collected from the Filipino community were flown in from the United States. These gifts were given out to orphans here at the airport and all over the country, so they could share in a Merry Christmas too. As Christmas nears, there is a change in the air, a kind of excitement you can feel. At little churches all over the country, services are held and devotions made. A calm settles over the country. There's a peaceful anticipation of the joyous festivities to come. It's Christmas Eve. As a matter of fact, it's midnight. And thousands of people gather for the midnight mass. It's one of the highlights of 9 days of Christmas celebrations. And wherever we go, in little places, in villages, in big cities, people gather together for this beautiful mass on Christmas Eve. This fantastic mural was painted just for the special Christmas masses held here at the Cultural Center of the Philippines. There are tens of thousands of people here. The symphony orchestra and chorus play a special program of seasonal and devotional music. After midnight mass on Christmas Eve, families return home to exchange gifts and enjoy a feast called Noche Buena, which means the good night. I was invited to join the Reputante family. All 4 generations, and lots of uncles and aunts and friends. They treated me just like I was a member of the family.
Okay, now, let's eat. Kain tayo, ha? Okay?
Let's go!
Kasi mahal naman kami magkaisa-isa para magkaroon ng magandang Christmas at masagana ng taon. Tuwilingin namin sa inyo, Panginoon.
After a prayer of thanks, we sat down to a sumptuous holiday feast. Noche Buena gives the whole family a chance to meet and share in the happy celebration of Christmas.
Thank you very much.
Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Joy to the Lord and liberty.
All around Manila, groups of children go caroling to the delight of the holiday crowds. They even sing the carols in Tagalog, the Filipino language. What I love about Christmas in the Philippines is the lively Christmas music, so much different than in any other country. But of course, they also sing the traditional carols. My co-hostess today is Barbara Stuckmann, pronounced in German Stuckmann, who flew in from her native Freiburg, especially to tell us all about Christmas in Germany. Barbara, welcome. What's new in Freiburg?
Oh, unchanged for hundreds of years. It's a nice university city at the southern edge of the Black Forest.
My favorite place in Germany is the Black Forest. Absolutely magnificent.
It's surrounded by many of vineyards, and we have a very delicious wine, I must say.
You know, there are really two Freiburgs, and people sometimes confuse this. One is in Germany, yours,
and the other
and
one in
there's one
Switzerland.
in Switzerland, but yours is in the Black Forest. I love it. You brought many typical Christmas items along. Will you explain them to us?
Yeah. These two here are handmade wooden figurines. You put some incense in.
Yeah, they're smoked.
And
You can
then
see
they
it.
smoke. Yeah?
Beautiful.
This one here, it's a wooden Advent wreath.
And that should really turn around.
It
But you
should,
know, with
yeah,
all
normally
the
it
air
should.
conditioning and we have in the television studio, it just
It's
doesn't
by the
work
heat,
like
normally
this.
it turns.
That's right. It turned before.
Yeah. This one is our big nutcracker. You put a nut in here.
Can I try it?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, brother. Let me see.
Ah.
I did it well. I think I did it too well, Barbara, no?
This small church and the little figurines are all made out of wood, and you buy it in the shops or at the special fairs we
But
have.
there's no competition to the chorus we have right here. Our chorus is better, isn't it?
Then here we have the native scenery. Normally we have it in the houses or in the church for decoration.
That is beautiful. You have, I think you have it in more or less every German home, don't
Yeah,
you?
it's under the Christmas tree.
Yes, absolutely beautiful. Tell me, Barbara, what would you say is the biggest difference between the way Christmas is celebrated in Germany and in the United States?
First of all, Christmas Eve, which we call Heiligabend, is the most important event in the whole Christmas celebration. The people go out to mass and try to visit the cemetery to put candles on the graves of the family and friends. Then the traditional dinner for this evening is carp.
That is a fish which I absolutely love.
I
And I think it's really typical German that you eat carp.
Then the second day, mostly we celebrate it within immediate family and
Yes.
friends. If you know that somebody of the family or of the friends is going to be alone, he's invited too.
I remember there was a time in Germany when you never wrapped gifts. You put them under the tree as they were, and it's really an American custom that you wrap the gifts, but I think it has been taken over all over the world that you wrap gifts. This means you put them...
We put it under the tree, and normally we sing some Christmas songs, and as children sang it.
Anyway, time has come, Barbara, that you take us to your native Germany. Are you ready?
Ready, let's go.
Let's go.
Glöckchen, klingelingeling, kling, Glöckchen, kling. Lasst mich ein, ihr Kinder, ist so kalt der Winter. Öffnet mir die Türen, lasst mich nicht erfrieren. Kling, Glöckchen, klingelingeling, kling, Glöckchen, kling.
Everywhere is snow, and the deepest lies where the mountains meet the sky. Now everyone is ready for Christmas. At last comes the 24th of December, one of the shortest days of the year, and the shadows slowly become longer. All over the land, church bells and cathedral chimes welcome in the Christmas tide.
Although the custom of the Christmas tree originated in Germany, the tradition of displaying Christmas trees in city squares and other public places started in the United States. The first public Christmas tree was displayed in New York City in 1912. The celebration of Christmas is one of the most cherished of American holidays. We have taken some of the trimmings and festivities of Christmas and given them a very special American flavor. I'm Gunther Lesk, and today we explore Christmas in the USA on Journey to Adventure. Christmas is in the air all over America. Today on Journey to Adventure, we'll review some of the American contributions to the holiday, including how a visit from St. Nick was written. Let's settle back and watch how this enduring legend became Americanized through a famous poem.
It was the night before Christmas. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring. Not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap, when out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen. On Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricanes fly when they meet with an obstacle mount to the sky, so up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head, it was turning around. Down the chimney St. Nicholas came. with a bound. He was dressed all in red from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke, it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled all the stockings. When he'd filled all the stockings, he turned with a jerk, and laying a finger aside of his nose and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. Sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But we heard him exclaim ere he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night."
Joyeux Noël, which is French for Merry Christmas, and to share with us some of the delightful customs, carols, and rites of Christmas in the French provinces. We have a very special guest, the beautiful Madame Marie-José Kirkwood. Marie-José, it's so good to have you back again.
Thank you.
We have done programs before.
Yes, it's nice to be back.
Christmas everywhere in the world is a matter of joy for families and especially for the children. What do you remember of your own childhood of Christmas in France?
What I remember mostly is, of course, the extraordinary excitement that goes around with Christmas. When you're a child in France, the excitement of preparing the festivity itself, the excitement of the spectacle in the streets, the anticipation, also the anxiety when you think if you have been a good girl throughout the year or a bad girl, what's going to happen to you at Christmas time, and so forth. And all those emotions are very powerful. And so I remember Christmas as a very magical time, a very special time.
Tell me, France has various regions, provinces.
Yes.
And I understand celebrations are different in the various provinces. And there's one province which has two Christmases for children, is that true?
Yes, it is. Of course, Christmas basically is celebrated the same way throughout France, but there are two areas of France which I think are very special. One is the Provence area in the south, and the other one are the eastern provinces of Lorraine and Alsace, where Christmas do have two Christmases. Children have two Christmases. They celebrate Christmas as the birth of Christ, and they also celebrate what we call Saint Nicholas.
What would you say are some of the well-known French carols you hear on Christmas?
Some of the French carols are very old, and they always despite a story. They explain a story. And it can be the story of Christmas or the story of Jesus, the story of some simple people that find joy at the end on Christmas. But they always explain a special story which happens in France at that time. They're all very beautiful and very traditional.
Christmas really is a continuing of warm traditions and sharing. Let's go to a village in the south of France and see how they greet Christmas.
In medieval Europe, the story of the Nativity was enacted in the churches by the townspeople on Christmas Eve. Today, this custom is only practiced in a very few places. One of them is Séguret, at the foot of Mount Ventoux, whereas every year they're preparing to celebrate Christmas. They say that here in December, when the cicadas are stilled, everybody sings. How is it that in this little Provençal village with a population of 700 souls, customs and songs have been preserved intact? During the last century, bishops forbade performances, masquerades, and any sort of demonstration in the churches.
Oh, delustau, mestre, mestreso.
They judged that the portrayal of Saint Joseph and all of the other biblical characters for generations by descendants of the same family was ridiculous. This is the Paris family, the town's well-to-do innkeepers. As for the Holy Virgin, who every year was engaged anew, it was a veritable sacrilege. But by some miracle in Séguret, traditions won out over the puritanical edicts of the bishops. 10 years ago, the rich costumes and pious songs stored away by the families were brought to light again. It is thanks to this chain of generations and to this love of tradition that today, as yesterday, one can still attend the performances of the real story of the Nativity on Christmas Eve in Séguret. It is the whole village that forms a joyful procession to church to answer the herald angel's call. The angel sings in French, the idiom of the people. Christmas is the celebration of children, of youth, of the Christ child, God become man. In Séguret, the Christ child is always the last born during the year, whom all come to adore. And first of all, the shepherds.
Vos apanailles, c'est dire la parouetta. Recebez nostri compliments, sarem d'un jour dir lo firmament. Sarem reine et bénéros, per vos contemplar bel enfant en douce. Recebez nostri compliments, sarem d'un jour dir lo firmament. Sarem reine et bénéros, per vos contemplar bel enfant en douce.
After the shepherds, on a famous Provençal march, come the shepherd lads and lassies.
et fier, faire qu'une jour Messio, faire nous entrer près guerrière, canten glorie et victorie, oh vers vous, apprenons adoration.
The Christ child remains indifferent to the homage rendered by the people, but he will need a great deal of patience to see the ceremony out. In olden times, these naive chants went on all through the night, while waiting for early Christmas Mass, after which the citizens went home to their respective abodes.
Winters are hard in Sweden, so the Christmas celebrations, which light up the heart of the winter, are especially bright. We go to that charming country to sample some of the festivities which marks the holiday season. And then, right here in this studio, have our own Santa Lucia Day procession, one of the highlights of the Swedish Christmas time. But first, the land itself.
The new church year begins in Sweden on the first Sunday in Advent, 4 Sundays before Christmas. In the whole of Sweden, people put out candlesticks like this one and light one candle. The Advent calendar is hung up on the wall or placed in a window. The Advent calendar is mainly for children, and every day until Christmas, they pull off one of the flaps on the calendar and a different picture for each day appears. The following Sunday, 2 candles are lit and some more flaps are pulled off the calendar. But it's not before the 3rd Sunday in Advent that the Christmas festivities really get going in Sweden. The 13th of December is Lucia Day. A custom several hundred years old takes place on this day. All over the country, in schools, offices, factories and so on, girls have been chosen to play the part of Lucia. In private homes, it's usually the youngest daughter who has the honor of waking up her parents early in the morning with a cup of coffee in bed.
Santa Lucia, du i vårt mörka hus, segel med tända ljus. Santa Lucia, Santa Lucia.
Time is now running short, and people are in a hurry to get everything ready for Christmas. Soon it's only a week to Christmas, and on the last Sunday before Christmas, all the candles in the Advent candlestick are lit. In town, Christmas shopping is in full swing. When electric light was a novelty, everyone was delighted at all the bright lights. Now, gaslight in the open is very popular. It gives the right Christmas feeling. Shops and department stores bear witness to the abundance of things to buy nowadays. There are still many marketplaces in Stockholm that have the atmosphere of an old-fashioned Christmas. The old stalls are still here. You can buy Christmas decorations at these stalls and maybe even useful things. Cottages and farmhouses from all over Sweden have been moved to Skansen, the open-air museum in Stockholm. One of the things that you can see at Skansen is an old-fashioned Christmas fair. The articles sold at the old stalls are not so unlike what was sold 100 years ago. In olden times, fairs were important events both in towns and in the country. You could buy things at fairs that didn't really belong to the necessities of life. Fairs were also meeting places, and people had fun there. The Toy Fair in the Old Town, the oldest part of Stockholm, is a Christmas fair that has its origins in the remote past. People bought their Christmas presents at the stalls here, and a boy would get really excited over a model boat. There's a homely atmosphere in this fair, surrounded as it is by ancient buildings. It's very curious that in the middle of the skyscrapers in the modern part of Stockholm, you still find the traditions of the fair with stalls and all the other things that belong there. Even these Santa Clauses playing the latest pop tunes. A few days before Christmas Eve, the family begins to think about buying the Christmas tree. The custom of having a whole tree in the home is not more than a couple of 100 years old. In Sweden, a Christmas without a fir tree is not a real Christmas. People generally buy trees between 6 and 9 feet high. The tree usually stands on the floor. There are many ways of decorating a Christmas tree. Some people only want candles and tinsel. Others want lots of color with different colored balls. And then there are some who want a modern and simple kind of decoration with only candles and apples. Wax candles on Christmas trees in Sweden are always white. Nowadays, most people prefer to have electric lights in the tree. The tree can be lit more often then, even if some of the atmosphere that candles create is missing. This piece of embroidered cloth for decorating the wall for Christmas will be ready in time, but only just. The crib is there with all the reminders of the Holy Night. There are the shepherds from the hills and the Magi. There are just as many ways of arranging the crib as there are of decorating the Christmas tree. Funnily enough, right next to the crib is the Christmas goat made of straw. Long, long ago, this goat was meant to represent a certain gentleman, who also had horns and cloven hooves. Christmas in Sweden is a real mixture of both heathen and Christian rites and traditions. There's the ham, a positive must in all Swedish homes on Christmas Eve. Is it a reminder of the winter sacrifice of the Northmen? And what's the origin of dipping a piece of bread in the liquid from the cooked ham? Christmas Eve was once upon a time called Dipping Day. Rice porridge made with milk instead of water and stockfish are a memory from Catholic times before the 16th century, so they could be eaten during a fast. Stockfish is cod that has been dried in the sun and treated with caustic soda and other chemicals. The fish must be carefully soaked and rinsed before cooking. Nowadays, of course, the fish can be bought ready for cooking. They freeze it. Now at last, the best part of the whole of Christmas. At least, that's what the children think. The way in which presents are given out varies from home to home. Family customs are often handed down from generation to generation. Ought not Santa Claus come with the presents? Well, not in this family, as the children are so big. You find him only as a symbol, up here at the top. But he still visits homes where there are small children. What a pity Grandfather is always out when Santa Claus calls. This is certainly the best evening of the whole year. Only, it always seems so short. But tomorrow morning, on Christmas Day, there is the early Christmas service at the church. So, the whole family goes off to bed early. At the special Christmas morning service, it's a pleasure for the vicar to see nearly the whole parish in church at the same time, even if it's only 5 o'clock in the morning. In towns, extra services have to be arranged as so many people want to go to this early Christmas morning service. They all want to be present to celebrate the anniversary of the birthday in Bethlehem.
That holiday spirit. It certainly is contagious. Christmas time is a great time to travel because wherever you go, you will encounter happiness and warmth. Thank you for joining me, Gunther Less, on this delightful tour, and please journey to adventure with me anytime on one of my other video cassettes of places around the world.
Funding for this program was provided by the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, a catalyst for change. Corporate underwriting was provided by General Motors and its almost 800,000 employees in 38 countries. General Motors is committed to excellence in quality products and television programming.
This is PBS.